data matching. It's very similar when the state put the Medicaid expansion and anyone making applications through the federal marketplace, that data was pinged on the data hub. There's wage match verification and wage data done now. I believe it's primarily done on SNAP and on unemployment comp. So it sounds to me like what they're doing is instead of doing it at the time of application, that they would be doing it now four times a year. I haven't seen the bill, so I look forward to looking at the bill and reviewing it.
Do you see any downside for recipients?
Well, and I want to be very clear. The federal regulations about what recipient responsibility is crystal clear, and the counties do a very good job in, as people are enrolling and their benefits are being determined that they are eligible, is that if there is any change in their income, they are required by law to notify the county and report change reporting. And if they don't do that, and it's determined that they didn't follow the program requirements, then they are subject to being sanctioned from the program and being responsible to repay the cost of those benefits. That's the current law now. We believe that anyone that commits fraud in the program should be punished to the full extent of the letter of the law. That's how we maintain integrity in the programs.
What do you expect the impact to be in terms of, he said, you know, the enrollment will start declining. Do you think it'll have a big impact in terms of the number of people on either Medicaid or food stamps?
Well, we've seen the food stamp or the SNAP participation decline. The SNAP participation has been declining for nearly 3 years now, and that had more to do with policy changes in the program at both the state and the federal level. We have seen over 275,000 individuals leave the food stamp or the SNAP program over the past 3 years. Participation is down to about 1.5 million Ohioans. You asked the question, we have about 3 million that are on Medicaid. Remember, Medicaid has a higher income eligibility threshold than the SNAP program does, and we believe that most of that has to do, the SNAP decline has to do with policy changes at the state and federal level that have done things like time limit food stamp benefits to certain populations. So again, remember, this population, their income fluctuates because they may be working in low-wage, part-time, temporary, or contingent jobs, so there's no guarantee. It's unlike you and I who are paid salaries. They're subject to whatever hours they're on the schedule, so their incomes are going to be constantly fluctuating. But this is very similar to what the state uses on the OBES system or unemployment, which is the data or the wage match system.
Were there any of these databases that they brought up that raised any red flags with you?
I think that there are some issues about you can own a home and still receive food stamps. You don't have to relinquish your personal property. So again, I think there's some issues there. I mean, it may be your only asset, especially in the area of a senior citizen whose home may be paid off. I mean, that is their only asset. And you are allowed to own a home and still receive SNAP benefits. So I'm interested in seeing all of the different criteria that they want to match.
Is there reason to believe that fraud is rampant in the program?
I think that that's the question that we continue to ask. I think the auditors report about reissuance of cards that were reported lost or stolen. Let me be clear. The SNAP program has one of the lowest error and fraud rates of any federal program. USDA has studied this. Other programs should aspire to the low fraud rate that the SNAP program has, and the penalties are severe, both for an individual that would commit fraud in the SNAP program or a retailer. The penalty is up to a $250,000 fine and 20 years federal imprisonment. So, I mean, the law is there, okay? So if there is if one suspects that something is happening, then it is incumbent upon public safety to investigate it, and that's both public safety within the state as well as USDA have investigators that come in that work on the program. So here again, I'm anxious to see what data sets that they're going to be matching. But I also want to remind you that we have, it's about 747,000 assistance groups, 1.5 million individuals on the SNAP program. What we know is about 85.5% of the current population is either children, disabled, senior citizens. So their
80%
incomes just aren't changing. Somebody that's disabled or on a fixed income, as far as a senior citizen goes, their income isn't going to fluctuate. Yeah.
Any privacy issues?
I think that that's one of the things that they're going to have to look at in the data sharing. As you know, Judy, you've been around long enough. When you start to do data sharing, then there have to be memorandums of agreement between the state agencies or the federal agencies, as well as confidentiality, especially in a time where we're seeing cybersecurity issues. I think looking at that as well. But I guess I'm just relieved that it's not going to require the counties to recertify people's benefits 4 times a year, because the last thing that we want to do is take a low-wage working family who is struggling maybe to get 20, 25 hours a week at their job, or for that matter, working 2 jobs, to have to take time off, unpaid, to go down and sit at the County Department of Job and Family Services at which to recertify. So I look forward to reviewing the bill and working with the
They
sponsors.
didn't have, this is the first press conference, there's